Misfits Boxing has put out their official top 10 pound for pound rankings. There's been a lot of debate about this list, so we're going to go through this real quick and share some thoughts. The first thing that immediately catches my eye is the 7 through 10 rankings. We got Jarvis in 8, Tempo Arts in 9, and Ashley Roxu in 10. One thing I will say is that I'm glad that Ashley Roxu is getting some recognition. He's been putting up some big performances. He has a win over King Kenny. He is willing to fight anybody. He accepts every fight that comes to him. And I think he deserves some bigger fights in the future. Tempo Arts, I probably wouldn't put him on the list just yet. I understand he's the heavyweight champion, but he won the belt against Chase Damore, who really just isn't that good. And I think that division is just lacking competition. I would like to see him get a few more wins. I don't think he's done just enough yet. But I think he has a lot of potential and could get there. And then Jarvis at 8 is an interesting one. I get that Misfits sees a ton of potential in him. I see that potential as well. He's one of the younger guys in the scene and is already very impressive with how technical he is. But his biggest win is his last one against B-Dave. B-Dave, another guy, not super impressive win there. He had a competitive fight against a Nissan Gib, but didn't get the job done. I 100% believe he'll be further up on this list in the future. But for now, it's close. I think he's got to do a little bit more, just like Tempo Arts. Now, the reason I said that the 7 through 10 spot is interesting is because I would 100% put Salt Poppy over all three of these guys. Salt Poppy not making this list is a little crazy. I understand he's taken a couple losses now, but those 2 losses are coming from your own number 4 pound for pound fighter and the number 5 pound for pound fighter. He went the distance with AT and was winning the fight against Slim before everything went wrong for him and he got knocked out. But he is right up there with those guys. To completely remove him from the top 10 because of those 2 losses is a little wild, especially when you consider draw as one of the main factors on this list. Here are the categories Misfits considers for their top 10. It's not just ability. They also have stuff like opponents and draw on that list. And I think that's something Salt Poppy 100% has over these guys on the end of this list. Those are the 3 I for sure think he should be above. But maybe that's just me. Let's move on. We got a Nissan Gib at the 7 spot. I'm not mad about it. Apparently he is retiring. I don't think I believe that. If he is, I guess he won't be on this list for much longer. The fight that needs to be made is a Nissan Gib versus Slim. That's the one the people want to see. Gib says he's all about the storyline. I think there's a story there. Let's get that fight made. For now, with his current opponents, his wins, I think 7 is pretty valid. And then 6 is definitely a controversial one with Logan Paul coming in for the 6th spot. When you go back to their criteria of what makes you the top 10, I guess you got to put Logan Paul there. He now has 1 win against Dylan Dennis, but when draw is one of your main factors, I guess that's what's going to get Logan Paul into this list every time. Because, of course, he is one of the biggest draws in this entire scene, and he pretty much always will be. Because you know his record is not getting him on this list. So I guess I already know that's why he's here. I don't think we're going to see him back in this space for a long time or maybe ever. So I probably wouldn't put him here personally. We also have AT, Anthony Taylor, at the number 5 pound for pound spot. I don't know if I'm a fan of this one. I don't really see Anthony Taylor as an influencer. I guess this isn't an influencer boxing tier list. It's the Misfits boxing tier list. But you don't have guys like Idris Virgo on here. He's considered the pro category. But Anthony Taylor's really the only one on this list who comes from a fighting background. He doesn't really make videos or anything outside of fighting. It's kind of interesting how he slid his way into here, especially when those around him in the same realm aren't considered for this list. And when you consider stuff like your draw power, I don't think he has a ton there either. but it's kind of just a weird situation. I understand 100% why he's here. And if you're talking about just ability and nothing else, he does deserve to be on the list. But that's what I got to say about Anthony Taylor. Number 4, we have Slim finally getting his respect after that Salt Poppy win. Slim has been one of the best guys in this scene for a while now, and I'm glad he's finally getting the recognition that he deserves. I don't have much to say about this one. He deserves to be here. I think there's an argument for putting him at the number 3 spot as well. I would consider putting him there over Dean. It's close. Both guys very talented, very skilled, and have had great performance after great performance. So I guess that kind of leads me into the number 3 spot with Dean the Great. I'll also say it's deserved. It can be kind of flip-flop between him and Slim, in my opinion. Had his huge win in the rematch against Waleed Sharks. I just want to see more competition in his weight division. Now that the Waleed Sharks rivalry is kind of over for now, I'm interested to see who they have next for him to fight. But regardless, he deserves to be in one of these better spots for sure. And then we don't have a number 2. We have a tie for number 1 between, of course, KSI and Jake Paul. I do understand the reasoning here. Both of them have losses now to Tommy Fury. Jake Paul technically getting a split decision, but I believe KSI had the better performance against Tommy Fury, even though it was kind of an ugly fight. It's obvious everybody has these guys as the number 1 and 2 spot. I just really hope that we get this fight at all. Hopefully KSI doesn't take too much of a break. Jake Paul is going to stay active. He has a fight coming up. And the more KSI kind of starts to step away from this scene again, the more Jake Paul is going to start to take over as that number 1 spot in a lot of people's minds again. So I would say that 2024 is the year to finally get this fight going. Finally decide who the number 1 pound for pound YouTube boxer is. I think that's going to be about it. Who did they have missing? Who would you have put on this list instead? Another one I was kind of surprised about was King Kenny. I think you could have put him in there over Jarvis and Tempo Arts as well. Can't put him above Ashley Roxu because he did lose. That's actually a rematch I wouldn't mind seeing. But that's about it for today. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more boxing content and updates. I'll see you next time. Peace.